All right, I think I'm live. I will wait a couple minutes. I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. As we go through this, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to drop them in the chat. Blaine is monitoring chat, so if it's a question that he wants to throw up on the board, he could do it now. But we have a Q&A at the end too, so you'll be able to we'll be able to cover questions at the end of the webinar as well. All right, so I am going to go ahead and get us started. And the topic today is what most marketers get wrong about personas. My name's Rob. I have worked at PIC for, well, I've been a partner at PIC for 7 years, probably been at PIC for over 14 years. I have 20 years of marketing experience. I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot of personas, and I've seen a lot of buyer personas that are never used. They just end up on a dusty shelf somewhere. So in a nutshell, I think the thing most marketers get wrong about buyer personas is that they don't use them. Even if you have a bad buyer persona and try to use it, it might be somewhat helpful. But if you're not using them at all, if they're just ending up on a shelf somewhere or in a folder at the bottom of a SharePoint library, then they're definitely not going to help you at all. In fact, 77% of marketers don't refer to personas before creating campaigns, and 85% don't refer to their personas before a product launch. So they're built, it's a checkbox item, they go away and they're not used. Nobody pays attention to them. Now, before we go further, I want to add a little context between what an ideal customer profile is versus what a buyer persona is. When we're talking about ideal customer profiles, we're talking about the businesses that you want to work with. And we want to look at the attributes of those companies, of those businesses. So that could be industry, the size of the business, the revenue, geography. Those are all the attributes that would make up your ideal customer profile. Your buyer personas are the potential customer base within your ideal customer profile. And we might segment them, but really your buyer personas represent all the potential customers that you could be doing business with. Now, this on the screen here is an example from Adobe of a buyer persona. And it's kind of interesting. I think one of the weird things about buyer personas is that they can be oddly specific and then oddly general at the same time. So if we look at this particular buyer persona, we're looking at a marketing manager, 35, New York City, bachelor's degree, married, Patagonia and Nike fan, which are two really different kind of brands. If you look at the brand data, I could look at this buyer persona for an hour, study it for an hour. You could study this buyer persona for an hour, and we could come up with completely different ideas of what the campaign is. I think when we have buyer personas like this, and we're a marketing team, we struggle to find the action items in this kind of a buyer persona because they're just so vague. And unless you have like an infinite budget where you can create thousands of campaigns that target very specific niche groups, this is really not a valuable way to build out a buyer persona. The other thing that isn't just related to buyer personas, but really related to how we talk about our prospects and customers, how we target them. The sales team targets them. We build targeted lists. We cast a wide net. We refer to it as fishing. All of this sounds very, very predatory, right? We're out to get revenue from our customers. We're out to close deals. And this is really how a lot of companies view their business. It's like we're out to close deals. We're out to target customers. We're out to get money from them. Yeah, we're giving them something in return, but we really want to close these deals. So one of the things that we want to do is really get our clients to shift their perspective from their business standpoint, from the idea of buyer personas. And what we really want to do is look at our customers through the eyes of a guide. We want to look at the world from their perspective so that we can understand what they're trying to accomplish, what are the hurdles and roadblocks that they're facing, so that we can become that Yoda to Luke Skywalker, right? We want to help our customers be successful in their journey. When our customers grow, when our customers thrive, we do the same thing. So we really want to focus not on a hard sell, but we want to have a nurtured guide. If we're not doing that, it's a missed opportunity. So the company's truth, I love this quote. Many of the truths that we cling to depend on our point of view, sticking with the Star Wars theme. The company's truth often revolves around product features, sales targets, brand positioning. From our customers' perspective, they're looking at outcomes. They're going through their own struggles. They're looking for personal wins. These are things that our customer needs to experience. And if we shift our perspectives and we can see our perspective, but we can also see the hero's perspective and understand their mission, that really sets us up to be successful and to help our customers be successful. And this is just one of my favorite quotes that eloquently illustrates that exact perspective switch. People don't want to buy a 1/4-inch drill. They want a 1/4-inch hole. Now, we developed a framework we call the hero mission strategy. And it boils down to 3 parts of this framework. There's hero building, which is really what we're talking about today. The idea of a hero is kind of a replacement of a buyer persona because, well, we'll get into why. Mission building is understanding what the job is or what the mission is that your hero is trying to accomplish it, and understand the nuances as to why they're trying to accomplish it and what gets in the way. And then story building is taking our understanding of the hero and of their mission and creating a path to success that we can then share with our hero to help them be successful. So what is a hero? When you think about a hero, think about your existing customers and think about your good customers and your great customers. The people who become brand champions are your heroes, right? They're the ones that you really help meet and exceed expectations. When we're talking about marketing, we want to think about those potential brand champions out there, and we want to really have a bias in our marketing to engage with our potential brand champions. And one of our clients put it very well, where they said, we're looking for a partnership, not a vendorship. So think of that whenever you're thinking about your heroes. It's a partnership, not a vendorship. Now, with heroes, we want to understand who our ideal hero is. And in order to do that, we also want to know what's their role and what's their fundamental purpose. That's within their organization. Like, why are they there? And what's the purpose of them being there? And they will have different missions. And these different missions will have different roadblocks and hurdles. And 1 or 2 of these missions are going to be the ones that we align with, and we can help them be successful. Now, it costs 5 to 7 times more to win over a new customer than to keep a current one. This demonstrates that the best investment is attracting your best fit customers. And we want to have the best, strongest fit customers in our sales pipeline. Now, the bad news is that marketing is very often maybe unfairly judged on quality of leads rather than the quantity of leads rather than the quality of leads. So in reality, while we do need to balance our strategies and predatorily cast that wide net, we really want to have that bias toward our heroes so that we're attracting our best fit customers rather than just anybody who's going to make a purchase. And this is especially true if you're a company with a long sales cycle, ongoing support, and you're in a position for repeat business. So we really want to be able to cultivate those relationships and get those heroes in on the onset. So once we have our hero, we start building out the mission. Now we're going to go through building out your own hero on this workshop. And we do the same thing with a mission. So we'll talk about that next month. We're actually going to have a webinar about that part next month. But once we have the mission defined, we build it out into a storyboard. So that's a story building. And the storyboard is made up of 6 chapters. And then we also have our ending. So our goal as the guide for our hero is to lead our hero on a mission toward a happily ever after ending. We want them to be successful. So that's our goal from our organizational perspective. But it's also important to know the cliffhanger and the tragic ending too, because that may be where they're coming from. They may be coming off of a status quo situation where they're just starting on this mission fresh, right? They've been doing it a bad way before. Now they're looking to accelerate. This is the first time they've tried to do it. So that might be somebody coming off of a cliffhanger ending. A tragic ending is where they may have tried to do this in the past and they failed in a miserable way, and now they're thinking about trying it again. Understanding where they're coming from can help you prepare them for success when they're working with you. Now, after we have the storyboard built out, what we do is we take a chapter and we break that down into friction points and fundamental needs, and we can create content around those. And then as we create that content, we want to share it. We want to get it out on social media, email. The sales team, the content that we create is supposed to be value driven. It's supposed to help our customers overcome a friction point or a roadblock. So these become valuable sales tools as well. As the sales team's having a conversation with somebody, they uncover a friction point. Now they have a content piece that they can share that helps establish you as an authoritative, trusted source of information. Now, as we're creating this content, we may have higher value content that our prospects are willing to give us their name and email in order to get that content. So we can filter them over there and then get them into a nurture stream where now we can start nurturing them. We know the mission, we know the hero, so we can create a very, very valuable nurture workflow to help those heroes be successful, educate them and nurture them toward our products and services that will also help them be successful. Now, we'll dig into the anatomy of a hero. So this would be a great time to get out a pen and paper, because I'd like you to start kind of scratching notes down about your hero as we go through this, because we're going to do a little bit of an exercise at the end with your website in mind. And this will be kind of important to have as you go through that exercise there. So when we're talking about the anatomy of a hero, there's a couple things that we need to know. First, the role that's what they do. So depending on your business, you may be best at helping people in one of 3 areas. A professional role, that's what we do. We help people professionally. A personal role, maybe they want to be the provider of their family. Social role, maybe they want to be a trusted advisor within their group. But the role is what they're trying to do. And then we have the purpose. This is why they do it. So the professional purpose could be growing their business that's measured by very specific KPIs. So think about your hero, think about what their purpose is, what their role is, and just write a couple notes down about those specific elements of your hero. And as you do that, now we can write a brief description of our hero. So when we're writing our hero description, we want to combine our role and purpose. And we also kind of want to capture why they align with our hero. Why are they a hero? What makes them our hero? We can kind of look at some of the attributes and include that in the description. So what I'm going to do as we go through is I'm going to give you an example. So Content Carol is the example that I'm going to use as we go through this exercise. So her role is to craft and implement a high impact content strategy. That's her role. Her fundamental purpose is to position their company as an industry authority. So she's a content strategist who is supposed to position the company as an industry authority. That's her role and her purpose. Now, they're an ideal fit if they're looking for a proven content framework, if they like data-driven insights, and if they want to create content that adds value. Those are some indicators that if these all line up, this is probably going to be a hero, because we are very good at helping these kind of people. Then we want to think about where they go to learn. So I have 8 different categories to consider. This is not like a definitive list or anything. This is just to give you ideas of where your heroes may go to learn. So think about your own heroes for a minute. Think about what industries they would potentially be in. Think about what trade publications they may be in. It's really important to know this, because you should really be trying to learn what your heroes are trying to learn, right? If you want to be a thought leader and an authoritative, trusted source in the industry, start learning what your heroes want to learn, and you can start bridging things and repurposing content with your own expertise to help them be successful in their mission. So knowing all of this helps us learn and helps us teach our heroes. So this is what some learning resources might look like for Content Carol. And again, we want to use these resources so that we can better speak to our heroes and find ways to add value to their missions, to those jobs that they're trying to complete. So you should be writing down learning resources right now. Okay. How do they achieve success in the eyes of their company? So I'm going to have 3 slides here about success. This is the first one. What are their key performance indicators? How can they be successful in the eyes of their company? We want to kind of define that. It could be a quantitative, it could be qualitative objectives. For Carol, lead quality and conversion rates, engagement metrics, filling the pipeline through content creation, SEO performance. Those could all be metrics that really help measure Carol's success within the company. So think about your own hero, think about what they're trying to accomplish, and see if you can define how the company would view them as being successful. Is it like digital transformation for their industry? Is it developing a new automated labeling system? Like just think about what those success metrics might look like for your particular hero. What determines success in the eyes of their peers? So think about what your heroes might brag about if they go to a trade show, or be humbly modest about if they go to a trade show, when other people are impressed who are in the same role and who have the same purpose. And then how within their organization, how do other teams respond to the work that they're doing? Like what matters to them? So if we're talking about Carol, the content is organized, strategic, and on brand. So that would be very evident if Carol was at Inbound showing off her website. That would be a direct reflection on how well she's doing her job. Cross-functional teams like sales and product services, they see the input that they've provided reflected in the content. So that is highly appreciated. They feel heard. And then her content doesn't just look good, but it's performing and it's being used. So this kind of helps determine success in the eyes of Carol's peers. And then personal success. How do they feel personally successful? So for Content Carol, she's included in conversations, so she feels important. The leadership listens to her ideas, so she feels heard. She's becoming better in her role and at her purpose, so she's growing. So she knows that her work matters, and she feels forward progress. That's how Content Carol feels personally successful. So now that we talked about success, we need to look at struggles. And when we're looking at struggles here, we're not necessarily looking at mission-specific struggles, but these could be struggles that our hero feels within their purpose and their role. And these are sometimes things that we can help our hero overcome, maybe not directly through products and services, but maybe through experience or other relationships. So some common struggles, and these could affect probably any hero, but misalignment across teams. I know sales and marketing are rarely unaligned, which is a joke, but misalignment between sales and marketing, it can be extremely challenging for both sides. They may not even realize it. I know with sales and marketing, sometimes there's like just a competition between them, and it can be challenging. So that can definitely be a struggle. Proving ROI can also be a struggle. Just having accurate data clear reporting can be a challenge, or even just like defining KPIs that aren't fudgeable and knowing what metrics move those. So just having a strong data analytics ROI dashboard can be a huge challenge. Siloed tools can be a huge challenge where you have different systems across different platforms and they don't talk to each other. That can be a challenge. Stakeholder buy-in, where you're not being taken seriously, you're not being heard, just trying to get that foot in the door to the room to talk to leadership. That can be a challenge. So those are some examples of challenges that your hero may face. And it's good to know this because you may have an avenue to help them overcome those challenges. Now, some common factors similar to every person represented by this hero. This is how we kind of categorize our heroes. Now, we don't just want to do a buyer persona similarity type thing. We also really want to look at what are the commonalities that make our great customers great versus our good customers good. So we want to start identifying those. Your brand champions, what are the great customers? When you think about your customer base right now, think about your great customers. Think about the customers that your sales team is talking about. Think about the great customers that you've engaged with. What are the commonalities there? I just totally lost my thinking. But yeah, we want to understand those commonalities so that we can really attract in our marketing and our sales efforts those specific heroes to our brand. Now, once we go through all of these steps, what we want to start doing is thinking about what I call a mission brief. So a mission brief, this kind of identifies who our hero is, and then it also defines the mission and the desired outcomes of that mission and the impact. So we build this out as an as a, when I want to, so I framework. It's this kind of the same thing as the jobs to be done framework. We've just tweaked it a little bit to fit hero mission. So the as a represents the role and purpose of our hero. The when I is a brief summary of the mission that they're trying to accomplish. The I want covers the desired outcomes of the hero. So I is the impact of those outcomes. So right now, think about your heroes and write out a mission brief for your hero. So as a, what is their role and their purpose? When I, what is the mission or the job that they're trying to get done that really you are very well suited to help them be successful at? Why are they doing it? What are the outcomes that they're trying to achieve by completing this mission, by being successful in this mission? And then what are the impact of those outcomes? How is it going to affect their success? What is the impact of being successful? Okay, so as you write that down, I'm going to go look at Content Carol. I'm going to name this mission Building the Content Strategy for the Ages. So it's like just amazing content strategy. So as a content strategist, building a strong, value-driven content strategy for my prospects and customers. When I map our business goals to the desired outcomes of our prospects and customers to develop a content strategy that adds value, which is important. I want our prospects to begin viewing us as an industry thought leader and cultivate authority and trust so I can drive engagement, conversions, and long-term loyalty. So that is a rundown of our mission brief. Now, something I like to do, like as you wrote down all of these notes, we're an EOS company, and EOS does something called a clarity break. Jim Quick wrote about similar to clarity breaks. I came up with a white noise session because I do this with like white noise in the background. I swear it does something to your brain and it's beneficial. And I set a timer. So I set a 30-minute timer and I go through this exercise. It makes it quick and it gives me a time limit. And I can't remember exactly the saying, but the amount of work you have will expand to fill the time allotted. So if you break this down to half an hour, I feel like you're more productive in your clarity break. So what I do is 2 minutes of free writing. So if you're going to use the hero building as the prompt, look at all of the notes that you just took down during the hero building exercise and just start writing, free writing for 2 minutes with those notes in mind. And then you set your intention. So 3 minutes, look at everything you wrote in your free writing, and now start thinking, is there a problem here that I need to solve? Is there a story to tell? Just think about how you want to dig in and set the intention of the writing challenge. And then dive in for 20 minutes. So now you just spend 20 minutes writing to try and achieve your intention. By the way, don't use technology for this. Do this. Don't use your computer to look things up. Do this on a piece of paper in a room by yourself without your phone, and just free write. Just free write for 20 minutes. And then conclude. So 5 minutes to conclude. Look at everything that you wrote. Take any notes and strong takeaways that you have. If there's questions that you want to look up, write that all down in your conclusion. And now you kind of went through the exercise. And I guarantee this is going to give you some insights that would not have escaped your brain had you not done this exercise. Clarity breaks are great. Now, we are going to be giving you a copy of this presentation. This is a kind of a scratch worksheet that I put in here that you can start filling out answers in for your hero. I would definitely encourage you to print this out, give it to other people on your marketing team, give this to people on your sales team, have them fill it out. What you may want to do, there's a couple ways you could go about this. You could create the hero that you want them to work on, and you could add the mission that you want them to focus on. So as a write in your hero role and purpose, when I write down the mission, and then give this to your team and have them fill everything else out, and then see what you get back so that you have multiple answers to a single hero and mission brief. Or you could give this out to everybody and say, who do you think our hero is? What do you think? Where do you think they go to learn? Have them fill this out completely independent, and then see if everybody is kind of in the same line as to who your great customers are versus who your poor customers are. That's a very interesting exercise to do as well. So AI can equal awful intelligence. Doesn't have to, but at least awfully suspicious intelligence. ChatGPT is a nice resource. Your sales and service team is a better resource. Your customers are a great resource. Your heroes are the best resource. So you can use ChatGPT, but it is the slickest yes man in the world. So just be aware of that when you're using ChatGPT. It tries to make you feel like the smartest person in the room. Okay, so now the exercise. This is how I want you to apply the hero and the mission brief to your own website. So I know you've all been diligently taking notes as I sped through everything, but at the very least, look at your mission brief. As a, when I want to, so I. Get a couple thoughts down in there, because we're going to use that right now on your own website. If you take your mission brief and you go to your website, what I want you to do, put yourself in the shoes of your customer. So you are the person in your mission brief, right? Go to your website. What is the #1 page on your website that your hero needs to visit? What is the most important page that they should visit right now? This page is often not there. So because most companies are building their website from their own perspective, they're creating pages around their products and around their services, right? So they're not thinking about their customer's perspective. They're thinking about their own perspective. So they're feeding things from their perspective to the customer, just from a features benefits point of view. If we look at things from the customer's perspective, we see things a little bit differently. Now, first of all, you may be looking at your website and you're like, I don't have any page based off of this hero and this mission. I don't even have a page that's relevant. So now you know what to do. You need to go out and you need to build that web page so that it's relevant to your hero and their mission, right? But maybe you do have a page on there and you're like, this is probably the #1 page for this hero and this mission. So what I want you to do is look at that page. And again, this isn't a definitive list of things that you have to have on that page, but it's a good starting point. So do you have some sort of elevator pitch on the page? And this isn't a predatory style elevator pitch. This is more like a, hey, we understand who you are. We understand what you're trying to accomplish. Here are some ways that we can help you type elevator pitch. And we probably want that higher up on the page so that they see that kind of right out of the gate. Do we define the mission at all that they're trying to accomplish on the page? This could be a specific section, or it could be the theme of the page. Does the theme of the page actually define the mission that they're trying to accomplish? Do we have all of your solution offerings for that mission, for that hero on that page? So if you think about your solution options, you're obviously going to think about the related products and services, which is the next part, right? But it's not just your products and services that help your heroes be successful. It's also just the vast amount of experience that you have. One thing you have to remember is that in your position as a solutions provider for your hero, you've probably gone through the mission that they're going through 50, 100, 1,000 times. This may be the very first time that they're ever going through this mission. So you are probably in a position where you really know more about what they have to do to be successful than they do. So your experience beyond your products and services can have a ton of value to your heroes. Not only that, but your relationships can also add a ton of value to your heroes too. So when we're talking about solution options, we're not necessarily just talking about your products and services, but it's everything that you can, all the value that you can offer your heroes in order to be successful on the mission that they're trying to accomplish. The other thing that you really want to have on your #1 page is expectations, setting expectations. This could be expectations through the sales process, through the onboarding process, through service delivery process. You really want the visitor to your website, the hero that's going to your website, to know what to expect when they're working with you. And then testimonials and other social proof. Testimonials are great. You should definitely have testimonials on your #1 page. You should have case studies on your #1 page. And then resources. These could be blog posts and articles that go to value points that are specific to the mission. You want to have those available on the #1 page too, so that you're providing additional resources to your hero whenever they're trying to learn more about you and about being successful in their mission. And then FAQs. We definitely want to have FAQs on the #1 page. Those should be mission related, mission specific, so that when they're going through the FAQs, these are relevant to things that the questions that they may have as well. And Google's a good place to get these, but again, going back to talking to your heroes, that's the best place to get any and all data. Like, talk to your heroes and understand from a real world perspective what they're going through, and get information from them. And then calls to action. It's kind of interesting how many websites out there don't have calls to action today. So definitely make sure that you have calls to action on your website placed appropriately. Don't just have one at the very bottom of the page. Make sure you have one at the top of the page. And then also, don't necessarily insist that all of your CTAs are to talk to a sales rep, because they may not be ready to talk to a sales rep. So make sure you have CTAs that are relevant to where they may be within their mission. And that could be a higher value lead gen offer. It could be a calculator or a workbook. It doesn't have to be a talk to a sales rep. Okay, so now as you're taking notes and you're looking at your website, you should be writing down things that you need to add to your number one page. And if anybody has like a number one page out of the gate that's like 100% rock star, I would love to see it. And I'd love it if you would share it with us. Okay, so we went through everything we need to know about the hero building and the hero mission strategy. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns in regards to heroes? All right. Well, you guys are pretty easy on me. So we're doing webinars every month this year. So we have 4 more scheduled. In July, how to build content that mirrors your customer's journey. I will dig into mission building here and story building here. So if you got value out of this webinar, this is like part 2 follow up to this one. So I think you would find this next one very valuable. How to map your company's value to the hero's journey. We're going to be talking about content and what you offer and how to incorporate that into your content strategy. And then we're going to have 2 sessions on SEO. SEO is a big topic. So we're showing how you can align your SEO strategy to be customer centric in those webinars. And if you want to sign up for alerts for other webinars that we are coming out with, just go to walkwithpick.com/events, and that's where you can learn about those. The other thing, we are building a platform for the hero mission strategy. If you are interested in being able to create heroes, send surveys out to your company and have you co-create heroes and missions and build out full content strategies based off of those heroes and missions, join our wait list. Whenever we get this out into beta, then you will be invited to test this out and play around with it a little bit. And that's all we have today. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's good to see you here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar. All right, we'll talk to you later.